Have you ever had that feeling that to really change your life or maybe achieve some big goal, you absolutely had to start from the inside out? Like, what if unlocking all that outer success really depended completely on transforming your inner world first? Well, welcome to the deep dive. Today we are plunging into this really fascinating stack of sources, all centered on Hun Ming Kwang. He's described as a world-renowned specialist in what he calls inner work. Our mission here is to try and unpack his unique approach to personal mastery. We want to explore how he sort of blends ancient wisdom with modern psychology, and also how his influence seems to go beyond just individuals, touching on broader societal issues too. By the end, you should walk away with a much clearer picture of what this inner work thing really is, and maybe why it's gaining so much traction around the world. So our sources introduce Hun Ming Kwang as exactly that, a celebrated inner work specialist, a creative visionary, and also a top strategist in life and business. He's also an ICF professional certified coach, a best-selling author, and apparently a trusted advisor to leaders across different industries. And his stated mission, well, it's incredibly ambitious, to touch and transform 1 billion lives. Okay, right. Let's really unpack this then. How does someone actually become a world-renowned inner work specialist, especially with a mission that huge? Our sources show, well, a pretty remarkable journey that started way earlier than you might expect.
Yeah, what's really compelling, I think, is his origin story. It's quite profound. He's based in Singapore, and apparently from a very young age, he was already drawn to personal development. In fact, get this, he started coaching other people when he was just 18.
18. Wow, that's incredibly young to be guiding others like that.
It really is. An extraordinary head start.
But then, around age 20, it sounds like he hit a wall. A really profound, maybe even shattering existential crisis. Something a lot of us can probably relate to in some way. He was grappling with those huge questions. Who am I, really? And what's my purpose here? Sounds like a real turning point.
Exactly. That intense quest for meaning, it definitely set his path. And to find those deep answers, he didn't just, look for quick fixes externally. Instead, he went on this global journey, immersing himself in just a huge range of disciplines, studied everything from like cutting-edge modern psychology all the way to ancient shamanic traditions. He sought out masters and healers from all sorts of different cultures.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Our sources mention him apprenticing with the renowned spiritual teacher Star Fuentes. He's even described as the keeper of 13 master skulls, inheriting what sounds like a very sacred ancient lineage. What does that actually mean for his approach? That sounds quite esoteric.
It does sound esoteric, right? And while the specific details of the 13 master skulls are, quite deep within that tradition, what it really symbolizes here is his profound immersion in ancient wisdom. It points to a deep respect for knowledge passed down through generations, often focused on accessing, let's say, non-ordinary states of consciousness, understanding the energetic, the spiritual dimensions of being human.
Okay.
So this heritage, and he also has Mayan lineage mentioned, it suggests his inner work isn't just intellectual thinking. It's rooted in practices that engage directly with subtle energies, with ancestral patterns, the things that really shape us underneath.
Right, deeper levels.
Exactly. And the really profound insight, I think, is how integrated mastery often comes from blending these seemingly different worlds, ancient spiritual ways, meeting modern psychology, rather than just sticking to one. His journey shows how a deep personal crisis can actually be the catalyst for creating this unique, holistic synthesis. It gives him a much richer toolkit for transformation,
That makes sense. And that kind of foundational quest for meaning, it feels universal, doesn't it? Makes you think. How do our own early experiences or those big life questions shape the paths we end up choosing? So this deep internal inquiry, it leads us right to the heart of Hun Ming Kwang's philosophy, which is all about this inner work. With that incredible background, what is at the absolute core of his coaching philosophy?
Yeah, that's the crucial question. What exactly is inner work in his terms? For Hun Ming Kwang, it's fundamentally the idea that changing your inner world is the absolute key to changing your outer reality. He really believes that those deepest questions we all have, who am I? What's my purpose? You can only genuinely answer them by looking inside, not by seeking external fixes or superficial changes.
So it's like peeling back layers, systematically getting to the core of who we are, rather than just tweaking behaviors on the surface.
Precisely. His work is all about peeling away that societal conditioning, healing those deep-seated inner imbalances, addressing old wounds. By doing that, people can break free from the self-imposed limitations that, often show up as blocks or obstacles in their actual lives. As he puts it pretty powerfully, what shows up in your outer world is but a reflection of your inner world.
That's a strong statement.
It is. So by addressing those root causes inside, you can actually transcend current limitations towards self-actualization. It's so central that he sometimes calls himself a deprogrammer, helping people shed those limiting beliefs, unlearn patterns that aren't serving them.
Deprogrammer, that's a really striking term. Does that mean kind of undoing negative stuff, or is it more like uncovering something positive that was already there but hidden? And how is that different from, say, regular therapy like CBT?
Well, it's kind of both, actually. The profound insight, I think, is that real lasting change isn't just about adding new habits, but systematically subtracting the limiting beliefs, the conditioning that hides our authentic self. So his deprogrammer role isn't just a catchy phrase, it's a method. It's about dismantling that internal structure of limitations to reveal the potential underneath.
Okay.
And while something like CBT might focus on challenging thought patterns, which is valuable, Hun Ming Kwang's approach goes deeper into the energetic and spiritual dimensions. It tries to release patterns that are often ingrained way before we even consciously think about them.
Right, so it sounds incredibly comprehensive, very holistic, going way beyond just surface stuff. How does he actually put that into practice then? What's the methodology look like?
What's fascinating is his methodology works on multiple levels simultaneously: the physical, emotional, mental, energetic, and spiritual. It's a real East meets West fusion, blending modern psychology insights with that deep ancient wisdom and spiritual practice.
And you mentioned something specific earlier, process-oriented psychology.
Yes, exactly. What's particularly compelling is his use of process-oriented psychology, or just process work. It's not just talk therapy. Process work has this unique view that all human experiences, even things that seem random like recurring dreams or persistent body symptoms, relationship fights, altered states, all of it is seen as a meaningful unfolding process.
A process, okay.
Yeah, and the idea is that these processes contain the seeds of their own resolution. It's about following them, trusting them to unlock insight. So Hun Ming Kwang, as a trained process worker, uses techniques based on this, like bodywork psychotherapy, breath work, dream analysis, conflict resolution, and even something called coma work.
Whoa, hang on. Coma work. That sounds pretty intense, maybe even alarming in that list. Can you clarify what that means? It's not medical comas, right?
No, absolutely not medical comas. Good clarification.
Yeah.
In this therapeutic context, coma work refers to these very deep practices designed to access profound, non-ordinary states of consciousness. Think states similar to deep dreaming or deep meditation. It's about guiding people gently into these altered states to unlock innate wisdom, access hidden information, and facilitate healing at a really deep, often pre-verbal level.
Got it. So accessing deeper states of mind, not a medical condition.
Exactly. And crucially, he weaves all of this together with those spiritual and indigenous healing traditions he learned, like his Mayan lineage. That's what makes his approach so unique and multi-layered.
Does that kind of holistic view resonate with you, listening out there? Imagine tackling a challenge or a goal in your life, not just mentally or emotionally, but hitting it from all angles at once: physical, energetic, spiritual. It really does suggest a richer, more integrated way to transform. So Hun Ming Kwang isn't just guiding individuals. Our sources paint him as a significant change maker too, a creative visionary on a bigger stage. How does his inner work translate into broader societal impact?
Yeah, if we step back and look at the bigger picture, his work definitely goes way beyond just one-on-one coaching or private retreats.
Yeah.
Back in 2016, for example, he co-founded Dream Singapore. This was a huge nationwide coaching campaign.
Yeah.
And it actually set a world record. Most people coached in the shortest time. They coached 500 people in just 30 days.
Wow, 500 people in 30 days, that's an incredible scale. Given that ambition, what were the challenges? How did they manage the logistics, the quality control for so many people so quickly?
That's a great point. The sources suggest it really came down to meticulous planning and having a strong network of trained coaches ready to go. The focus wasn't necessarily on, months of deep therapy, but creating a highly impactful, condensed experience, often like an initial spark to get people started on deeper self-exploration.
Okay, a catalyst.
Exactly. It showed the power of collective effort and efficient delivery, that even brief, focused inner work can make a real difference for a lot of people. And his reach goes beyond Singapore. He also co-started the hashtag 1,000,000Friends movement over in South Korea. That movement specifically uses inner work and higher awareness to tackle big social issues like gender equality and empowerment. This really drives home that massive mission he has, touching 1 billion lives by addressing collective problems through individual and community change.
It's interesting how he uses these big campaigns, but the sources also call him a social artist and creative director. How does art fit into all this personal growth and social impact stuff? Seems like an unusual mix.
It is unusual, but what's fascinating is how he deliberately blurs those lines between coaching, healing, and art. He uses things like experiential art exhibitions, interactive dialogues, using them as powerful tools to bring mental health awareness right out into public spaces. He often collaborates with an artist, Quinn Lum, under the name Honey and Lummy.
Honey and Lummy, okay.
Yeah, and their projects have gotten quite a bit of recognition, even support from public figures. Member of Parliament Kerry Tan praised his focus on authentic self-connection and mental wellness through these projects. Like, imagine someone creating a mask, maybe it's covered in cracks, and that symbolizes years of hidden anxiety they've carried, and then they share that story publicly alongside the artwork.
Right, very visual.
Incredibly visual. That project gave a voice to so many through that powerful metaphor, showing how art can open up deeper, more vulnerable conversations.
So his work isn't just happening behind closed doors, it's really engaging the public. How has that affected his profile? What kind of impact is he having in that broader sphere?
Well, in Singapore, he's known not just as a coach, but also as a social healer. That term comes up. And MP Kerry Tan, in a 2022 interview, actually called him my healer and teacher. She talked about bringing him to Seoul specifically to run workshops on self-awareness and personal healing.
That's quite an endorsement.
It's huge. That kind of public backing from someone in her position really shifts the conversation around personal development and mental health. It brings it out of the private sphere, into the spotlight, helping to normalize and destigmatize seeking inner well-being.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How could creative platforms, like these art shows or dialogues, be used to spark deeper conversations about well-being in your community, beyond just the usual therapy or coaching routes? Now, beyond the coaching and the social initiatives, Hun Ming Kwang is also a prolific author. He's got several books out. What sort of insights is he sharing through his writing? What's the strategy there?
Yeah, he's authored or co-authored 5 books, and they all directly connect to his advocacy for mental health and personal transformation. His writing seems to blend his personal wisdom with practical tools, really aiming to inspire readers on their own paths of self-discovery and growth. The strategy seems clear. Amplify the message. Get the ideas of inner work and mental wellness out to a much wider audience. Make these concepts more accessible.
Can you tell us about some of the specific books, especially the ones that show that unique approach to collective wisdom you mentioned?
Sure. One really significant project was the Masks of Singapore photo book. That came out in 2021, a collaboration with Fujifilm. This book was actually part of a record-setting initiative, documenting the personal stories of 572 individuals who took part in his self-awareness and art workshops. Remember the masks we talked about? Each person created a mask artwork representing their emotional state. So the book became this visual symbol of a collective journey toward greater self-awareness in Singapore.
Wow, 572 stories.
Yeah, and it was launched during World Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, which really underscores its mission around mental health, using this very visual, community-based approach.
That's a powerful way to make inner work visible, connecting it directly to suicide prevention. And then there's the Threading World series. That sounds massive.
It absolutely is. In 2022, he published this extensive 4-volume series with Penguin Random House CA called Threading Worlds: Conversations on Mental Health. This series is huge. It compiles interviews and insights from 75 different contributors.
75?
75. And it's not just personal stories. You've got medical professionals, psychologists, policymakers, community leads, and importantly, individuals with lived experience sharing their perspectives. It really is a collective wisdom project designed to give this comprehensive, multifaceted view of mental health in society.
75 contributors across 4 books. That's an enormous collaborative effort. What specific themes do the volumes cover with such a wide range of voices? What was the goal in bringing them all together?
Well, the subtitles give you a good idea. Titles like Stories We Don't Tell, Growing Pains, Weaving Between Light and Shadows, Said and Unsaid, and Singapore and Mental Health. So together, these books explore mental wellness across different parts of society. Everything from youth issues and growing pains to wider national perspectives on mental health in Singapore. The goal was clearly to create a space for open dialogue about topics often kept quiet, like depression, anxiety, to foster more understanding, reduce stigma, and show that mental health is really a community issue, not just an individual one.
How do you think having such diverse voices, like in the Threading World series, can help us build a more nuanced, maybe more compassionate understanding of mental health in our own communities? It feels like it's about more than just facts. It's about shared human experience. Okay, so for people who want to engage directly with his methods, experience this unique approach for themselves, what kinds of programs does Hun Ming Kwang actually offer?
He offers a range of pretty intensive programs, tailored for different needs and levels of commitment. For instance, there's the Pinnacle, that's described as a flagship series of courses for people really seeking mastery in specific areas of life, like their career or relationships, aiming for that next level of excellence.
Okay.
Then you have intensives and retreats. These are multi-day immersive workshops. They take you out of your daily grind to really dive deep into inner work processes. They also foster connection with other like-minded people. There's also Healing Histories, which is a group course. It guides people on a deep inner journey to align their inner and outer worlds by really getting into past wounds and transforming those deep-seated patterns. And for very personalized guidance, there's the Mastery Accelerator process. That's his one-on-one private coaching program designed to get right to the core issues holding clients back and do it quickly.
And what do people actually say about these experiences? Do they really lead to that kind of profound, lasting change he talks about? And what is it about his approach that seems to create those breakthroughs?
The client testimonials are pretty powerful. They often talk about really significant breakthroughs, a new sense of empowerment. One client said something like, "I have a greater awareness of myself, how to take ownership over my own inner work, and to live life on my own terms, rather than on autopilot based on others' expectations."
Living life on your own terms.
Exactly. Another one really highlighted his precision. They said, Ming Kwang is able to pinpoint the crux of the matter. He's just that precise and sharp, and I find that to be very important as it speeds up the process a lot. That's something I've not seen and experienced before.
Speeds up the process.
Yeah, and what seems to distinguish his approach, why that precision works, is his ability to quickly identify and work with the root energetic and spiritual blocks, not just the surface symptoms. That systematic deprogramming we talked about seemed to accelerate progress by targeting those deepest layers of self-limitation.
Okay, zooming out again. What's his overall impact looking like on the personal development industry, both in Singapore and maybe globally now? How's he shaping its future?
Yeah, that's a key question, isn't it? His long-term influence. Hun Ming Kwang really seems to represent this modern wave of truly holistic coaching, masterfully blending that deep spiritual inner work with very practical psychology. He's been really instrumental in bringing these often very personal growth conversations out into wider public spaces through the workshops, the art events, the community projects, taking them beyond just private coaching rooms.
Right, making it more visible.
Definitely. And with over 10,000 people trained and coached, he's actively shaping the industry. Not just as a practitioner, but he's also taking on mentor coach roles for the next generation of coaches and healers. Plus, his growing global reach across Asia, Europe, the US, that's creating this cross-pollination of coaching practices. So his impact is becoming genuinely international, influencing how future generations might approach inner mastery.
So thinking about those results his clients describe, what stands out to you? Could those kinds of inner breakthroughs potentially unlock new possibilities in your own life? Maybe help move beyond old limitations or those autopilot ways of living they mentioned? We've really covered a lot of ground today. Journeyed through the multifaceted world of Hun Ming Kwang, from his early, intense existential quest and those profound spiritual apprenticeships, all the way to his groundbreaking work in inner mastery, his social advocacy, and his role as an author. He truly seems to bridge that gap between personal transformation and broader societal change, using such a diverse toolkit, everything from ancient wisdom and modern psychology to innovative art and collective wisdom projects. So what does all this mean for you, listening right now? Maybe consider this. Hun Ming Kwang really champions that powerful idea that what shows up in your outer world is but a reflection of your inner world. Just take a moment, reflect on an area in your own life where you genuinely desire change. Could be relationships, career, health, maybe just your sense of purpose. Could exploring your inner landscape, your core beliefs, your emotional habits, your past histories, as he calls them, could that be the most powerful path to actually making that outward change happen? More powerful than just trying to rearrange things on the outside. What's maybe one small inner work step could be just a moment of honest self-reflection, a conscious choice to shift perspective, or maybe just noticing an old pattern. What's one small step you could take today to begin shifting your outer world?